if you play Doom, then you know that since the dawn of this game coming out, people, or at least most of the community, has kind of flipped over one thing mainly, honestly, and that's the color palette. Since the game came out, most people pretty much felt that the color palette was a little too bright and colorful for a Doom game, and that's a result of pretty much Hugo wanting it to just be more arcade-ish and stuff. And also, I heard in one interview that he said he wanted it to be toned down so he could play it in front of his kids, and it wouldn't like be too terrifying for them to look at.
Cursing. I have 3 kids. There's no cursing. There's no sex. I do want it to be something that my 9-year-old could play.
So I guess that's why they ended up changing the vibe, just um, yeah, the color palette of the game. There's still tons of gore. The animations and the gore are actually better than in 2016. It's just the color palette kind of really takes away from that. But there is a way to bring back that color palette. Honestly, perfectly. I've found a way to. There's actually 3 things that you want to do in your video settings to get this effect. The most important one being render mode. And I like to imagine that render mode, you can see that among the list of render modes, the first one, the very first one, is gritty. And I like to imagine that this setting was placed in the game as a result of a conversation at id, between Hugo and someone else. Someone probably telling Hugo that people aren't gonna like the new color palette, and there needs to be a way to, I don't know, reverse it. And honestly, I think that's the whole reason that this render mode exists. And that's probably also the reason that the very first one is gritty. It's probably to bring back that vibe of 2016. And that's only the first thing. But another thing about 2016's graphics is that you'll notice a lot of things are a lot more shiny. Um, so like they went all out on reflections and stuff. And a good way to bring back that aspect is if you play on PlayStation 5 or if you have a good PC, then you can enable ray tracing, and that helps a lot to make it look, to bring back that like shiny look. And the last thing, and this is probably just as important, if not more important than the render mode, probably they go hand in hand perfectly. You want to bring your gamma. A lot of people are going to be tempted to bring their gamma like somewhere around like 1.2, 1.3, probably even all the way up to 1.5. But you want to have that shit low. You want to have it like 0.9 to 1 max. So in 2016, you could crank this all the way up, and it would still look like dark and gritty. And in Eternal, I guess you just have to put it down. So film grain really doesn't matter. It's up to you. But you put that graphics mode at ray tracing, render mode gritty, and there you have it. The rest of this video is just gonna be me showcasing some of the differences in different levels. I'm gonna show it in both hell settings and in UAC settings to show just how much this really does make it look a lot more like 2016 and really brings back that vibe that I've been missing since the dawn of this game. Enjoy.